Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. And what a day. It is an amazing day because we just surpassed the 1,900 subscriber mark. This is all thanks to you guys. It wouldn't be here without you guys, so that's fucking amazing. It's like the quickest milestone we've reached. I think it took like less than 2 weeks, which is still mind-blowing to me. And I do have a huge thing planned if we get to, by chance, the 2,000 subscriber mark, because that'll be a really big one. And all I'm going to say about that is going to be spicy. It's going to be real spicy. But besides that, to celebrate 1900, gonna do a bit of a new series here, hoping to do this as more of a long-term thing, and that is I'm gonna be looking at bands' discographies and ranking them from worst to best. Now, if you've heard of this concept before, you've probably seen it on Fantano's channel. So no really reinventing the wheel here, but Fantano never really goes delving into the depths of the underground metal, heavy, extreme side of music. So I like to think I will help out in that regard. And to kick off this series, we're going to be looking at a major player in the deathcore scene, and that is Suicide Silence. Love him or hate him, they kind of pioneered that second wave of deathcore that brought all that angstiness, those breakdowns, the slammier side of deathcore, and have paved the way for so many bands that it's hard to keep track of. But anyway, we're gonna jump right in. So give this video a like if you enjoyed, and of course, put down your rankings below and see how we differ. All right, to kick off this list, I think it's pretty obvious who's gonna be coming bottom. The self-titled. Do I need to explain why? I don't need to say anything more. You know why it's there. Next, I went for You Can't Stop Me. This is the first album that Eddie Hermida was a part of, and it's also the first album that was released after the untimely death of Mitch. And what can I say about this album? It's a pretty standard deathcore album. After all the innovative things they did on The Black Crown, this of course is quite the step down. However, I do understand why. I think fans have been really rubbed the wrong way if by chance that, you know, the great Mitch, the main pull for a lot of people for the band Suicide Silence, passes away, and then they get this new vocalist and all of a sudden the sound changes, but they end up doing that on the album after. So this album is pretty standard. There's nothing really special about it. Saying that, it does have a couple of bangers here and there, like Inherit the Crown, I think is pretty cool. And it just sort of, you know, showcases Eddie in that he can take the torch for Mitch. But besides that, yeah, as I said, nothing special, but yeah. Next, we have the 2020 release Become the Hunter. This saw the band going really back, almost all the way back to their roots when it comes to sound, when it comes to writing. Moments on this album where I felt like this is straight out of like 2008, 2009, bringing that gnarliness, that chugginess. And as much as that was probably nice for a lot of fans, you know, getting back that nostalgia, it kind of put Suicide Silence in a weird position where they've fallen behind all their peers that started off around the same time as them. You know, guys like Thyre's Murder, Chelsea Grin, Despised Icon, and so on and so forth. Now, the band is sort of rebuilding themselves literally from the ground up, which is in some ways good, but also it means they have fallen behind everyone else. And a lot has happened since, you know, 2008, 2009, a lot of improvements in production, improvements in writing and all that. And for them to go back to that sort of style, it's a bit unfortunate. But I know a lot of people enjoyed it, and for sure it is the best to come out of the band when it comes to the Eddie Hermida times. Now, moving into the top three, and the main variable change, if it's not obvious, is the fact that Eddie's not here. We have Mitch in the top three for sure. And to kick it off, it'll be No Time to Bleed. This was the sequel to The Cleansing, and my god, was it a great sequel. It took the stuff from Cleansing, it turned it up even heavier, made it gnarlier, and we had tracks such as Disengage, just that amazing, crunchy, heavy, disgusting vibe that, again, so many bands today and, you know, all throughout the 2010s were inspired by stuff like this, and it was a blast. So yeah, No Time to Die, another great album by them. Okay, moving to number 2 and number 1. So not gonna lie, it was kind of difficult to decide who would go in the second place versus the first place, because both these albums have a very strong, one being more of a genre definer and one being sort of like an innovator of its time. And in some sense, I could swap these two in their positions back and forth, and I think it would make perfect sense. But for today, this is what I've picked. So in second place, it goes to The Cleansing. This is a classic deathcore album from 2008. The album that sparked the second wave transition into the brutal, heavy edginess. And on this album, we have so many classics, it's hard to count. And what I also love about this album as well is the rawness of it. The fact that it's not quantized to sound like a robot, at least on the drum kit. Also, the instruments in it are not overly compressed and they sound more natural. And on this album, we get our first glimpse of Mitch Looker creating some of the most gnarly, disgusting tones ever in the scene that has inspired so many vocalists to what they are today and will continue to inspire vocalists all the way into the future. This album is a classic. If you're a deathcore fan, you need to listen to this at least 10 times. The Cleansing, number 2. And of course, that means at number 1, we have The Black Crown. With its iconic tracks as OCD, You Only Live Once, Slaves to Substance, and many more. Now, why is this number 1? Well, it combines the heaviness and brutality of the band that we got from No Time to Bleed and The Cleansing, but they innovate. And for a deathcore band back in the day, it was very unheard of, the idea of them innovating, trying something different, something fresh, but they did it here. How did they do it? Well, we had incorporations of effects. I think you are all aware of the opening to You Only Live Once, having that sort of phasery guitar part. And on top of that, one of the big ones is the fact that it features Jonathan Davis from Korn on this album, and as such hints at the idea of this band going down a more of a nu metal route. Why does it work so well? Well, the writing on this is really solid, and it just so happens that they're able to toe that line between brutality and groove and all that, catchier stuff and make it work. Not many bands could do this, especially at a time like 2012 when it was very much deathcore is deathcore, nu metal is nu metal. We don't splice. The idea of like splicing a lot of genres together was very rare and unheard of, especially in the really underground metal scene. So the fact that Suicide Silence did that, they did it well, and as such created an album that is just front to back amazing. And of course, we all know Suicide tried to double down with their self-titled and it didn't work because they didn't understand that balance for whatever reason. But I generally think this album is amazing. If you're a deathcore fan, you have to listen to it. And there's nothing more I need to really say. Just go listen to it. But anyway, that was my ranking for the Suicide Silence albums. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, thank you for watching and thank you for 1,900 subs. It means the world to me. And yeah, I will be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.